Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another UFC preview and predictions. The main event this weekend, the trilogy. Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier do it for the third time in the T-Mobile Arena. The UFC officially returns back to Las Vegas. I mean, I know they've been there for the Apex fights, but with a full capacity crowd. Also, Gilbert Durinho Burns versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in the co-main event. Also, Sean O'Malley's fighting. So there's that, I guess. And folks, if you have not yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more UFC here in the channel. Let's now get into this 13 fight card. So our first fight is between Hu Yang and Alan Amedovski. Gonna start first here with Hu Yang. Okay, so his last fight in the UFC was 2018, and it was against Rashad Coulter. Okay, he lost that fight, by the way. Blades Ngannou 2 over in Beijing, China. And yeah, that was not a good performance for Hu Yang. Loses that one by unanimous decision. That fight was at light heavyweight. His first fight in the UFC, it's a loss to Serial Asker. He loses that one by rear naked choke in the second round. That one is at heavyweight, and it's on the Bisping Gastelum card over in Shanghai, China. So now, Hu Yang is going to come back, and he's going to fight at middleweight in his third UFC fight against Alan Amedovski. Okay, I mean, that's a lot right there. I mean, Hu Yang comes in the UFC. Getting into the UFC, he picks up 3 wins. He gets a first win over in Chinese MMA Super League in 2016, wins by submission. Then the next night, he wins by KO in the same Chinese MMA Super League. So 2 months later, he fights a fighter who's 0-1, wins by KO, and the UFC adds him to the roster. Not much to judge by here on Hu Yang. Again, we have not seen him at 185 pounds as well, because all 3 of his fights outside of the UFC were at heavyweight. So it's a middleweight debut here for Hu Yang. I mean, he's got decent wrestling, and if he's going to be Alan Amedovski, that's probably how he's going to do it, but again, just tough to gauge how this is going to work, because Hu Yang striking is okay. If he stands with Alan Amedovski, though, throughout this entire fight, he's going to lose. I don't know. I mean, Hu Yang right now, as I'm recording this, just a slight underdog compared to Alan Amedovski. I don't get it, but let's not talk about his opponent, Alan Amedovski. And for Amedovski, yeah, he hasn't been around for a while as well. His last fight was all the way back. It's 2019. It's a loss to John Phillips. Okay, John Phillips' UFC career. What happened to him? Okay, he lost to Charles Burr, loses to Kevin Holland, to Marshman, beats Amedovski, loses to Khamzat Chimaev, and loses to Jun Young Park. Yikes. And then Amedovski's first loss in the UFC, it's a unanimous decision loss to Krzysztof Jotko. I mean, there could have been, there's worse losses out there, right? Jotko is not horrible. He's on a 3-fight winning streak before he did lose to Sean Strickland, so that's not a horrible loss. But the John Phillips loss, getting knocked down in 14 seconds. John Phillips' only UFC win is against Amedovski. Don't like that at all. Now, Amedovski before the UFC, though, did pick up 8 good wins. He fought in Bellator twice, 1 win in about 2 minutes, and the second in 12 seconds over in Bellator. And yeah, Amedovski is coming into this fight with a record of 8 wins and 2 losses. And something real quick about Hu, though. His 2 opponents still in the UFC are no longer in the promotion. I mean, Rashad Coulter out the UFC, and Serial Asker has not fought in the UFC since what? He lost to Tuivasa. It's been a while, since 2018. So it's a weird fight considering Hu Yang 0-2 in the promotion, and both of his opponents are no longer in the UFC. And for Alan Amedovski, he hasn't fought since 2019. He lost to Jotko and lost to John Phillips, who just got released by the UFC as well. This fight could go a lot of different ways. I think if Hu Yang is going to win this one, it's going to be via the wrestling and the grappling, but I don't think it's going to happen. Alan Amedovski is most likely going to win this fight on the feet. Again, this is Hu Yang 6th pro fight. It is tough to gauge where this one's going to go. I'm going to say Alan Amedovski wins this one by decision to start off the night. Not the best of fights, but Amedovski by decision. Next up, we've got a fight between 2 fighters, again, looking for their first UFC win. It's Zhumagulov taking on Jerome Rivera. We will start first here with the New Mexican-born Jerome Rivera. So currently 0-3 in the UFC. Comes in the UFC, wins on LFA, picks up one in the Contender Series against Luis Rodriguez. Comes in, they book him against Tyson Nam. Nam knocks him out in the second round. Then he fights Figueiredo, not Divison, Francisco Figueiredo, loses that one by unanimous decision, and then takes a really quick turnaround in about 3 weeks, fighting the Picasso of MMA in Odi Osborne, and Odi Osborne knocks him out in 26 seconds. Yikes, right? I mean, Jerome Rivera now coming back 5 months later to take on Zhumagulov. The problem with Jerome Rivera, his striking so far in the UFC just hasn't been there. I mean, his grappling, he's got some pretty good grappling to this Jerome Rivera, but his striking has been bad. He's got outstruck by Tyson Nam, got outstruck by Francisco Figueiredo, and got outstruck by Odi Osborne as well. And obviously the Osborne fight was only 26 seconds. Rivera, though, I mean, professional record of 10 wins and 5 losses. He fought a lot in King of the Cage and LFA as well before heading into the UFC. Lost twice in LFA to Roberto Sanchez and to Brandon Royval, respectively, and then picked up a couple wins before getting that shot on the Contender Series. But again, it has not been a great run for Jerome Rivera. Needs this fight to stay in the promotion. He's taking on a guy in Zhumagulov who had a lot of hype. And I guess we'll talk about Zhumagulov now. Again, came into the UFC, a lot of hype, coming over from Fight Nights Global. He was their champion over there. He beat some really good fighters over there in Fight Nights Global as well. He beats Tyson Nam in a main event, wins the belt for Tiger Ulanbekov, and then beats Ali Valentinov as well by split decision. Then gets booked in the UFC against Paiva, and yeah, he loses that one by unanimous decision, and then loses to Amir Albazi by unanimous decision as well. So 0-2 in the UFC for Zhumagulov. Obviously, a lot more hype out of him before the UFC run than in Jerome Rivera. Zhumagulov, though, again, the Amir Albazi fight started off looking all right, and then the second and third rounds just kind of went away. Zero output out of Zhumagulov. And the way to beat Jerome Rivera is through the striking realm, and of course, that's probably how Zhumagulov is going to keep this fight. This fight's going to stay on the feet. I think Zhumagulov just, again, with this fight staying on the feet, Zhumagulov's going to win this one. He's probably going to outstrike Jerome Rivera. Will he put a finish on Jerome Rivera? There is all the potential in the world for that. I don't really see it happening, though. I think Zhumagulov will ride this one out. He'll win rounds 1 and 2. Maybe Rivera will win a third, because Zhumagulov does sort of fade away towards the end of fights. But I like Zhumagulov to win this one 2-1. I think he gets it done in the first and second rounds. I think Zhumagulov wins this one by unanimous decision. Again, I'm not putting anything against his cardio. I know he's gone 5 rounds before in Fight Nights Global, but recently in the UFC, he hasn't looked great in the second and third rounds. But still, I'm going to take Zhumagulov to win this one by decision. Now we've got a fight that's probably too low on this card. I mean, it is all around a pretty solid card, but we got Brad Tavares and Omari Akhmedov this low on a card. This is going to be on the Fight Night prelims. I know they're on ESPN Plus as well, but really good fight here. I'm excited for it. So we will start first here with Brad Tavares, and Tavares has been around for a damn minute. I mean, first UFC fight was on the Team Liddell versus Ortiz finale over back in 2010. June 19th, picks up win by unanimous decision. Brad Tavares, I mean, he's fought the best of the best in the UFC. You got a loss to Yoel Romero. You got a fight against Tim Boetsch, a win over Nate Marquardt, a loss to Robert Whittaker. You got a win over Thales Leites. You got a loss to Israel Adesanya, lost to Edmund Shabazian, and most recently a win over Antonio Carlos Jr. by unanimous decision. And that's the fight we will talk about first. Yeah, Brad Tavares, UFC 257, beats Antonio Carlos Jr. by unanimous decision. The final scorecards to that one, you got 2 30-27s for Tavares and then 129-28, of course, all for Tavares. We look good in that fight, and considering his 2 fights beforehand, I mean, okay, the Israel Adesanya fight, now, Tavares did go 5 rounds with Israel Adesanya. Adesanya hit him with some big shots in that one, and Tavares stayed in the fight. Now, he did lose that one unanimous decision all the way back in July of 2018, and he turns around the next year and fights Edmund Shabazian, and then he gets head kicked in the first round, UFC 244. So, Tavares was sort of a stepping stone for both guys. I mean, if you look at the run for Adesanya, that was his really big first one. That was in a main event. And yeah, I mean, since then, Adesanya goes on, he beats Brunson, he beats Anderson Silva, he beats Gastelum, and the rest is history, right? So, Tavares was that really big first spot for Adesanya, and for what people thought it was going to be for Edmund Shabazian. Obviously, since then for Shabazian, he's gone on a 2-fight losing streak, losing to Derek Brunson, and most recently losing to the Joker in Jack Hermanson. But back to Tavares, man, the man has knockout power, and he is looking for a damn finish in this fight. And I know he really hasn't gotten a finish in the UFC since, you got to go all the way back to UFC 125. Tavares' second fight in the UFC against Phil Baroni. He knocks him out in the first round. The main event for that card, by the way, this was on January 1st, 2011. That was Frankie Edgar versus Gray Maynard, the draw. I mean, it's been a while for Tavares. Now, he does have that knockout power, and yes, he does have the ability to get knocked out. I mean, that's tough to say, but he did get knocked out by Shabazian, Whittaker, and by Tim Boetsch. But obviously, Omari Akhmedov, he does throw a really nice counter overhand right, but really that's not what Akhmedov is looking to do in this fight. Tavares is trying to keep this fight on the feet. Akhmedov is trying to get this one on the ground. So that's Brad Tavares. Let's talk about his opponent here in the Russian, Omari Akhmedov. And Omari Akhmedov looked very good in his last fight. It was a win over Tom Breese. That was on the Michael Chiesa and Neil Magny card. Smits him with an arm triangle choke in the second round. And that was coming off of a loss to a former champion in Chris Weidman, where Weidman did win that one by unanimous decision. Before that for Akhmedov, won a pretty good, I guess UFC likes to call it, unbeaten streak. Picks up a couple of good wins. Abdulrazak Alhassan, Kyle Noak. He has a draw to Marvin Vettori at UFC 219, then comes back, beats Tim Boetsch, beats Zach Cummings, and beats Ian Heinisch as well. And then he gets that Weidman fight, which he did lose, but still, it wasn't... again, I've said this multiple times when I talked about Weidman, and since I've talked about Akhmedov, is a lot of people didn't like that fight. You know, I didn't think it was the worst fight in the world for Akhmedov. Okay, he does lose that fight, and he does gas out toward the end of that one, but he's taken on a very good wrestler in Chris Weidman. And say what you want about Weidman now, considering he did lose the Uriah Hall fight, but I mean, his leg snapped on the very first kick he did throw in that fight, the very first strike anyone threw in that fight. But again, I don't think it was that horrible of a fight for him. I still think, okay, before the Weidman Hall fight, I was saying Chris Weidman's gonna win this fight against Uriah Hall. I still thought Weidman, not future title challenger, but I still thought he could hang with pretty much guys ranked 10 through 6 in the middleweight division. Now, will we see Chris Weidman fight ever again? Maybe. Hey, Anderson Silva came back now. Do I think he should come back, Chris Weidman? Maybe not. I don't think he should, but hey, maybe he'll come back, beat Nick Diaz, and then beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I don't know. Anderson Silva's a monster. Book him and Canelo next. Okay, but again, back to the Akhmedov and Weidman thing, I don't think it was the worst loss for Akhmedov. That fight showed, okay, Akhmedov can go in there and he can really hold his own against one of the better wrestlers in that division. I mean, Marvin Vettori's a very good wrestler at 185, but Chris Weidman still might be the best wrestler. Kelvin Gastelum may make a case as well, but again, Weidman still a very good wrestler. Akhmedov did hold his own in that fight, did win a round off of Chris Weidman. And coming into this fight, the record of 21 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. Of course, Akhmedov, he's not a bad counterpuncher. He's a pretty good counterpuncher. He doesn't throw too much volume when it does get on the feet. But when he gets it to the ground, obviously, Akhmedov is always looking for that control time. He's looking to sink in a submission like he did against Tom Breese with the arm triangle choke. This fight comes down to this. Do you think Omar Akhmedov can take down Brad Tavares in 2 rounds of this fight? Because a lot of people say Akhmedov's cardio is not great. I mean, it's just really the style of fight that he does fight. Maybe that is your cardio, sort of, but bear with me here. Akhmedov, again, fights a very exhausting fight. You saw the Chris Weidman fight. Constant takedowns, constant scrambles on the ground. That is an exhausting fight to fight, and that's always basically the fight that Omar Akhmedov is going to bring. And now, if his opponent does stuff a takedown on him, if he stuffs 1, if he stuffs 2, if he stuffs 3, of course, the gas tank is going to go down with Akhmedov. So that's why it is tough to pick Akhmedov in this fight. Obviously, you're looking at Brad Tavares here, trying to keep this fight on the feet, trying to keep it standing with Akhmedov and avoid that big counter, big overhand right that Akhmedov does throw. But I'm going to go with Omar Akhmedov to get the win in this one. I think his wrestling is going to be enough in this one, and I think he's going to submit Brad Tavares. I think Omar Akhmedov is going to get a takedown the first round, going to get control time in that first round, going to ride that one out in the second round, get a takedown, and sink in a submission and submit Brad Tavares. So that's what I'm going to go with Omar Akhmedov to submit Brad Tavares in the second round. Next up, we've got a fight between 2 former title challengers in Jennifer Maia and Jessica Eye. We will start first here with Jessica Evil Eye, and Eye is on a losing streak. Well, it's only 2 fights, but still. Last fight, Joanne Calderwood. She's got beer in the feet in that one. There's really not much to talk about. UFC 257, the first Poirier Conor card, she has lost. Before that, she lost to Cynthia Calvillo in a 5-round main event where, again, I did miss weight, but Cynthia Calvillo took her down at will in that fight, kept her down. Oh, and I don't know, maybe that plays a factor in this fight against Jennifer Maia, who is a tremendous BJJ player, but we will wait and see about that one. So I lose that fight to Calvillo. Before that, she beats Viviane Araújo. Fight, did she win? Yeah, I guess she did. Won that one by unanimous decision. Before that, I mean, she got head kicked in the face by Valentina Shevchenko, and then before that, beat Caitlin Kupchagian, beat Jessica Rose Clark, and then before that, she won a big losing streak over at 135 pounds, losing to Miesha Tate, Juliana Pena, Sarah McMahon, Betch Kohea. She beat Leslie Smith in between all of that, and then before that, lost to Alexis Davis, and beat Sarah Kaufman in her first fight, her first fight in the UFC all the way back at UFC 166. So Jessica Eye, how is she gonna beat Jennifer Maia? Well, she's gonna have to stuff a couple takedowns. She's gonna have to strike with Jennifer Maia. Again, we saw in Jessica Eye's last fight though. She got outstruck pretty badly by Joanne Calderwood, right? So, I mean, obviously, I think she probably is a better striker than Jennifer Maia, but I'll go back to the Cynthia Calvillo Jessica Eye fight. Cynthia Calvillo took down Jennifer Maia. What was it, 5 times in that fight? Kept her down for pretty much all 5 rounds in that fight. It was not a good fight for Jessica Eye. Jennifer Maia can do the same exact thing, and you know what? Jennifer Maia did that to Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, we might be putting too much into that one round that Jennifer Maia did win over Valentina, but she did win a round against Valentina Shevchenko, and she kept her down after getting a takedown on her. I don't know how Jessica Eye wins this fight. It's not like Jessica Eye has one-punch knockout power, right? So we will now talk about Jennifer Maia, and Maia has not fought since her title fight against Shevchenko, but again, just a good performance out of Jennifer Maia. It was one of those fights where you lose, and yeah, you lose pretty decisively. There was no question at the end of that fight, oh, did Jennifer Maia win the belt? No, she didn't. She lost 4 rounds to 1. But that one round where she did take down Valentina Shevchenko, I think it was the second round, she held her down. is probably the best thing that's ever happened in Jennifer Maia's career. So before that, she submits Joanne Calderwood in a very good performance for Maia. Loses to Caitlin Kuchagan before that, beats Roxanne Modafferi, beats Alexis Davis, and loses to Liz Carmouche in her debut in the UFC over in Boise, Idaho on the Dos Santos and Ivanov card. But Jennifer Maia's performance in that one round in the Valentina fight just shows, yeah, she's gonna beat Jessica Eye. I know MMA math doesn't work like that. I know we're doing MMA math with rounds won against Shevchenko, which seems a little bit weird, but still, Jennifer Maia won a round against Valentina Shevchenko, and how did she win that round? She took her down, she kept her down. How did Jessica Eye lose a couple fights ago? She lost to Cynthia Calvillo because she could not stop a takedown and because she could not get up after the ground control by Cynthia Calvillo. This is hell for Jessica Eye. The only way Jessica Eye wins this fight, again, is if she stuffs a couple of takedowns, keeps this fight on the feet, potentially stops Maia from pulling guard, because that's just how much of a disadvantage Jessica Eye has on the ground with Jennifer Maia. Maia's jiu-jitsu is so damn good, and her wrestling is pretty damn good as well. I'm going Jennifer Maia to win this fight by far. I think she's even going to submit Jessica Eye in this one. I think eventually she will get to her in the third round. I think Maia will submit her. First and second rounds, takedowns, I think it will be pretty obvious. Maia is going to be ahead 20-18 going into the third, but in the third round, she will submit Jessica Eye, and yeah, that's how I think she gets it done. Now we've got a very fun fight here between Ryan Hall and Ilia Topuria. We're going to start first here with Ryan Hall, and Ryan Hall is back. After beating Darren Elkins over in Sacramento in July of 2019, Ryan Hall finally gets another fight. He's supposed to fight Dan Ige, I do believe. A lot of fights get canceled with Ryan Hall because no one wants to fight this guy because of the jiu-jitsu and how good this man is really at jiu-jitsu. But we'll talk about the UFC career right now for Ryan Hall. So comes in, Ultimate Fighter, McGregor Faber, wins his first two fights by heel hook. Right, so wins both of them by heel hook, loses a majority decision in his third fight in the semifinals, but then comes in, beats Artem Lobov on the finale. He wins the Ultimate Fighter lightweight tournament, then he beats Gray Maynard, then he beats BJ Penn. He submits BJ Penn with a heel hook. I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, BJ Penn just almost blows his knee out. He doesn't, but tremendous finish by Ryan Hall. And the Darren Elkins fight, Ryan Hall knocks down Darren Elkins with a spinning back kick in that fight. So Ryan Hall, he's known for the jiu-jitsu, but he really just throws kicks on the feet. He doesn't really throw too many punches. It's just such an interesting fight whenever Ryan Hall is in there. I mean, I think the BJ Penn fight showed it, and yes, BJ Penn was way just done at that fight, but still, the way Ryan Hall synced in that damn heel hook, absolutely incredible. But this is by far his toughest opponent to date. He's taken on an undefeated fighter in Ilia Topuria. And how does Ryan Hall win this fight? It's obviously going to be on the ground. And yes, could he catch Ilia Topuria with a spinning head kick? I mean, maybe he could. I doubt it though. Ryan Hall has good jiu-jitsu and Ilia Topuria has good jiu-jitsu as well. But Ryan Hall, obviously, I would give the advantage to on the ground, especially with all those damn Imanari rolls and the heel hooks. I mean, you always got to watch out for it in a Ryan Hall fight. But also, Ryan Hall's wrestling and his way of getting the fight to the ground is also, again, he can get the fight to the ground whenever he does need to. So, Ilia Topuria, though, undefeated fighter, 10-0. Ryan Hall, he's 8-1 if you count his pro fights and you don't count the Ultimate Fighter. His first loss, it was his first pro fight in 2006 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Loses a unanimous decision fight against Eddie Fivey. I mean, it went 9 minutes, all 3 rounds. He loses. Then he took 6 years off of the sport, comes back, and then fights at Slam 1 in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Since that first fight, though, in 2006, went on to win multiple World Jiu-Jitsu Championships all over the damn place. So that's Ryan Hall, though. Tremendous. He's a wizard. That's his nickname. He's a wizard on the ground. And let's talk about his opponent, though, and Ilia Topuria. Topuria definitely has all the skills necessary to beat Ryan Hall, though. Because if there's anyone really in this, like, not top 15 yet, but the up-and-comers and really the prospects of the division right now, 145, who has the jiu-jitsu to contend and to compete with Ryan Hall, it's Ilia Topuria. And the guy's only 24 years old as well. Ilia Topuria, tremendous jiu-jitsu, and a lot of his wins are by submission. I know that doesn't mean that he's going to go in there and he's going to Imanari roll Ryan Hall. But if Ilia Topuria wants this fight on the feet, I think there's a chance he could keep it on the feet. I mean, again, you saw the Ryan Hall fight against Darren Elkins. Yeah, Ryan Hall can strike. Scorecards on that one, you got 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27, all for Ryan Hall. But if Topuria can keep this fight on the feet, I think that's where he's going to have the best advantage. Obviously, I don't think anyone really wants to be on the ground with Ryan Hall. So Topuria, his best way of winning this fight, keep this fight at distance and really just outstrike Ryan Hall from a distance and from the outside. But that's, again, easier said than done against Ryan Hall, because Ryan Hall sets up his damn takedowns and he sets up the Imanari so damn well with the leg kicks. And again, light kicks and spinning high kicks as well. He throws everything in his damn arsenal, and eventually he will set up for that Imanari roll, or he will set up for that eventual takedown that you know is going to eventually come. So for Ilia Topuria, it is a tough fight for him, but if anyone's going to do it, I think it's going to be Topuria. And now I'm not picking Topuria to win this fight yet, but I do think he has a very good chance of winning this one. Topuria, again, he's an undefeated fighter. He is currently, I do believe, 10-0. Yeah, Topuria is 10-0, coming off a good win over Damon Jackson where he did knock him out in the first round, so you could see that. Obviously, that's where I do think he will have the advantage against Ryan Hall, and I know I've said before he wants to stay away on the outside against Hall, but there's also, if Topuria closes the distance, lands some big hooks on the inside, another very good chance for him to get the job done, like you did see in the Damon Jackson fight. Put him down in the first round, and then his first fight in the UFC was a win over Youssef Zalal. Really slowed down the hype on Zalal, and now Youssef Zalal is on a 3-fight losing streak in the UFC as well. So, very close fight for me. Topuria is a pretty sizable favorite right now. Time recording this, he's a minus 230 favorite over Ryan Hall, but you know what? We are taking Ryan Hall to win this fight. Why? Crazy stuff can happen, and I'm not gonna bet against Ryan Hall in this fight. I like Ryan Hall here at plus money. I think he's a very good underdog to pick here, because again, anything can really happen in a Ryan Hall fight. He can shoot in, he can land a takedown, and hell, he's probably gonna have the jiu-jitsu advantage by far over Ilia Topuria. And I know Topuria, again, good jiu-jitsu, but Ryan Hall is on another different level. He's always looking for leg locks. He's always looking for a way to finish a fight, and Topuria could be winning this fight for 2.5 rounds. And then crazy can happen, right? It's a Ryan Hall fight. I said this before in the Derek Lewis, whenever Derek Lewis fights, and I'll give you a quick spoiler for my Derek Lewis Cyril Gane fight all the way in August. Derek Lewis can always end a fight no matter how tired he is, no matter how much he's getting beaten up. He can always end the fight with one punch. Ryan Hall can always end a fight with one Imanari, one takedown. Ryan Hall, if you give him 30 seconds left in the fight, he can, no doubt about it, 100% finish a fight. That's why I'm taking Ryan Hall, just because of the unpredictability of this one, and considering, yes, Ilia Topuria is very good at fighting. He's very good jiu-jitsu, very good striking. Ryan Hall, some of the same. Again, more of his striking is just kicks, but still, I'm taking somewhat of a risk by taking Ryan Hall, but we're going to do it. I think Hall gets the job done. I don't think he's going to get that last second submission like I was talking about, but I'm going to go Ryan Hall, second round submission. Hell, give it to me by that damn heel hook once more. I think he gets the job done. Give that man a top 15 opponent. Real fun fight now at 185 pounds between Trevin Giles and Dricus du Plessis. We will start first here with Trevin Giles. And in Giles' last fight, he beat Roman Dolidze on the Brunson Holland card. He won that one by unanimous decision. Final scorecards on that one, you have got 29-28 across the board, all for Trevin Giles. And before that for Giles, he knocked out Bevon Lewis in the third round of their fight on the Santos Teixeira card over in the Apex. And before that, beat James Krause. What James Krause had about, I don't know, like 15 hours to prepare for that fight. Nonetheless, though, Giles got the job done by split decision. Before that for Giles, though, made his way in the UFC, picking up a couple wins, then losing 2 to Zach Cummings and to Gerald Mirashar, both of those by guillotine choke. Trevin Giles, though, very good stand-up fighter. Same with Dricus du Plessis, even though du Plessis can get the job done on the ground as well. But Trevin Giles coming to this fight with a record of 14 wins and 2 losses. Again, on that 3-fight winning streak with wins over James Krause, Bevon Lewis, and most recently, Roman Dolidze. That's Trevin Giles. Let's talk about his opponent here in the former KSW champion in Dricus du Plessis. And yeah, Dricus du Plessis' first fight in the UFC, it was a win over Marcus Perez. And if you go rewatch that fight, it's on the Moraes Santhagen card over on Fight Island. The commentary team making a big deal out of, Dricus du Plessis. It is the, the nervousness of being in the UFC octagon for the very first time. He's, really not throwing that much, that output. Okay, the fight lasted 3 minutes, and yeah, for the first 2 minutes of that fight, was Dricus du Plessis doing anything? Like, was it the Dricus du Plessis that we saw in KSW, fighting Roberto Solčić for the championship? It wasn't, for the first 2 minutes, definitely not. I mean, Marcus Perez is pushing the pace, du Plessis really throwing punches off his back foot, wasn't looking great for the first 2 minutes, and then, I mean, with about 3 minutes into that first round, du Plessis just lands a bomb and puts Marcus Perez out. So, just shows you the skill that Dricus du Plessis has and that power that he does have in his punches. Again, he did not look good for the first couple minutes of that fight, but eventually, he, threw a big bomb and it landed, and it was a nice straight by du Plessis that put away Marcus Perez. And yeah, Dricus du Plessis, 2 losses in the pro record, one back in 2014, and then, of course, against Solčić in 2018 for that KSW welterweight championship, me. Of course, Duplessis now fighting at middleweight here against Trevin Giles. Good striker. Something I want to point out, though, I do think Duplessis might look for a takedown on this one against Trevin Giles. We've seen Giles, he's been submitted in both of his losses in the UFC. It has been by the guillotine choke. And, you know, when Trevin Giles has lost in the UFC, it has been against a dominant submission artist and a dominant wrestler in, I guess, Jeremy Short, I would say. So, definitely. And Zach Cummings, too. Zach Cummings, good striker, but also very good on the ground as well. If Dricus Duplessis can replicate something along the lines of what Mearshart and of what Cummings did, easy path to victory right there for Dricus Duplessis, but I also do like Duplessis' stand-up game against Trevin Giles as well. So all around, I really do like Dricus Duplessis' game, and I think he's going to be able to beat Trevin Giles. If Dricus Duplessis can get on a roll here, honestly, I'm just saying, this is a guy you're going to see in the top 10 in a couple of years. He is that damn good. When this guy is on, Dricus Duplessis is a damn monster. He wants to become the first champion from South Africa. Do I think he's going to get there? Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But I do like Dricus Duplessis a lot, and I think he beats Trevin Giles here. And I'll say it, I think he knocks him out in the first round. Might not happen like the Marcus Pettis fight. Again, I do see a path to victory for Duplessis with the ground game, but I also do think the punching power from him might be enough, and I think he can put away Trevin Giles in the very first round. All right, well, someone's getting knocked out. It's Niko Price and Michel Pereira. I mean, just crazy fight. Absolutely insane fight. I mean, Niko Price is a madman. Michel Pereira throws everything in every shot. He does cartwheels and backflips in the octagon. I mean, this is just a wild fight. Like, do not miss this fight. Joe Rogan is going to go absolutely crazy calling this fight. He is going to. So I believe, yeah, it's going to be the first Joe Rogan-Michel Pereira fight, and Niko Price, Joe Rogan's pretty big on him too. So this is going to be a banger of a fight. I'm so excited for this one in the welterweight division. We will start first here with Michel Pereira. So I know I did promise a finish, I think, in the Chaos Williams Michel Pereira fight. I was like, okay, this fight's going to be absolutely insane. I think Michel Pereira is probably going to get knocked out by Chaos Williams. It didn't happen. Williams lost to Pereira in that fight by unanimous decision on the Thompson Neal card over in Las Vegas in December last year. Before that, for Pereira, he got a rear naked choke win over Zelim Amedovski on the Overeem Sakai card. And before that, went on a 2-fight losing streak after he made his debut in the UFC after beating Danny Roberts. He comes in, he loses to Tristan Connolly. I've talked about that fight multiple times. He should have won that fight, but I mean, he missed weight, and then Connolly uses wrestling and avoided that tricky stuff that Michel Pereira does do. And then the Diego Sanchez fight, I mean, what do you want me to say? Michel Pereira was going to win that fight, but hey, he Piotr yawned against Aljamain Sterling against him. I mean, right? Need Diego Sanchez while he's on the ground. Diego Sanchez was like, yeah, I'm not fighting for another 2 minutes. Give me the win. And to this date, that is probably going to be Diego Sanchez's last ever win in the UFC. Well, and that's the fight that Conor McGregor saw. I was like, yeah, I want to fight Diego Sanchez in Los Angeles. That'd be a banger of a fight on a pay-per-view main event. I'm just saying. But Michel Pereira, all around, he is 3-2 in the UFC. Really should be 4-1 if he didn't make that crucial mistake in the Diego Sanchez fight. But what should you expect out of Michel Pereira? Just absolute, like, crazy stuff. I mean, come on. This is going to be wild. Michel Pereira, a lot of kicks. He just backflips in the octagon. There's going to be a crowd. It's going to be his first fight back with the crowd since that Diego Sanchez fight in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. This is going to be absolutely insane. I'm so excited. Pereira, though, good grappling as well. You saw that in the Maia fight. He did knock Zelim down in that fight to get him in the rear naked choke, but you might see Michel Pereira look for a submission in this one. But with Niko Price being so aggressive off his back and the way that he did finish James Vick with an up kick off his back and the way he finished Randy Brown with a hammer fist from his back, I don't know if you ever want to be on top of Niko Price in a fight. So that's Michel Pereira coming to this fight with a record of 25 wins and 11 losses. Let's talk about his opponent here in Niko Price. And Niko Price did, well, I guess it's a no contest now. He fought Donald Cowboy Cerrone, and he was going to win that fight if he did not eye poke Cowboy in the first round of that fight, but it was eventually a majority draw. Now, again, it has been overturned, but still, I still count it as a draw. Price fought an okay fight against an older Cowboy, but it's what he had to do. If he didn't poke him in the eye, he would have won the fight. There's that. The Vicente Luque fight, UFC 249, crazy fight. Luque, though, just got the best of Niko Price in their rematch of the original fight over Sao Paulo, Brazil, back in 2017. Before that, for Niko Price, okay, well, he just up-kicked James Vick in the face. You just gotta see it. I mean, it's on the Joanna Waterson card in Tampa. James Vick's on top of Niko Price. Vick's, you know, he's got like stat guard. He's gonna try to pass over to side control, and Niko Price just hits him with a nasty up kick right on the jaw, and James Vick just falls right down. And yeah, I mean, Niko Price wins the fight. It's a wild one. Before that, he loses to Jeff Neal in the second round. Jeff Neal, good fighter though. Price before that KOs Tim Means. Gets KO'd by Abdul Razak Al Hassan before that. KO's Randy Brown in that fight in Boise, Idaho, where again, he was on bottom, hit him with a bunch of hammer fists, and he just knocked out Randy Brown when he was on bottom against Randy Brown. Crazy stuff. Before that, he submitted George Sullivan, lost to Luque, beat Alan Jouban, KO'd Alex Morono, and then before that, beat Brandon Thoch Thatch in his UFC debut over on UFC 207 in December 2016. Of course, that was Amanda Nunes and Ronda Rousey. So Nico Price, it's kill or be killed. I mean, it's that simple. His fight against Cowboy was the first fight that he has seen gone to the judges' scorecards in his UFC career. So that's saying something. For Michel Pereira, I mean, he has seen a couple decisions in the UFC, but the Chaos Williams fight was his second decision fight, fight that went to the judges' scorecards in the UFC as well. So, I mean, just a crazy fight. I would expect to finish this one. And I'm going to go with Nico Price. Nico Price has so many different ways to win a fight. Michel Pereira looks to try to take him down, look to use his grappling in this one. Nico Price is so damn good off his back, and so powerful off his back, and there's a lot of unorthodox strikes off of his back. There's so many ways Nico Price can win this fight. Same with Michel Pereira, though. I mean, it's kill or be killed in there. Someone is going to get knocked out. Nico Price is going to throw one to trade one. I mean, he's going to trade one to throw one. It's going to be a crazy fight. Like, I have nothing else to say. Someone's getting knocked out. It could be Pereira. It could be Price. I am leaning towards Nico Price, though, to land that big punch against Michel Pereira. You're going to see Michel Pereira do a lot of stupid stuff in there as well. He's going to do a backflip. He's going to do a cartwheel. Maybe Nico Price catches him off guard. I think Nico Price is going to win this fight, and he's going to KO Michel Pereira. I'm going to say in the second round. Crazy fight, though. Crazy fight now here between Carlos, the natural-born killer Condit, and Max Griffin. I'm pumped for this one. We will start first here with Max Griffin. His last fight was a win over Song Kyunan by KO on the Brunson Holland card, and caught me by surprise. First round KO, tremendous win for Max Griffin. Before that, he beat Ramiz Brahimaj, and yeah, I mean, just weird stoppage. Well, I mean, Brahimaj's ear like almost came off. Max Griffin beat that man up in the third round, got the job done. Before that, for Griffin, though, he went on a 2-fight losing streak, losing to Alex Morono and to Alex Cowboy Oliveira. The Oliveira fight was close, though. It was on UFC 248, split decision fight in that one. And then before that, for Griffin, he did pick up a win against Zelim Imadaev. And before that, losing to Thiago Alves, Curtis Millender, beating Mike Perry, losing to Lizio Zaleski dos Santos, beating Eric Montano, and then his UFC debut, fighting the eventual interim champion in Colby Chaos Covington over back in UFC 202 in Las Vegas, Nevada. So Max Griffin has fought some of the best, I mean, obviously Colby Covington in the weight class, and he's fought Mike Perry too, so there's that. But Griffin most recently on that 2-fight winning streak, and his striking has looked so damn good in these last 2 fights. I mean, it's the best striking we have seen out of Max Griffin so far in this UFC run for him. Current record overall, though, of 17 wins and 8 losses, but it finally seems like Max Griffin really is putting together the pieces, and he's really developing a very good striking game. And if he's going to be Carlos Condit, he is going to have to come out, and he's going to really have to outstrike the former WEC champion and the former interim champion as well. So that's Max Griffin, again, coming to this fight with a record of 17 wins and 8 losses. Obviously, it's going to have to be via the stand-up game, and Max Griffin's going to have to either try to knock out Carlos Condit or just put a beating on him on the feet if he's going to try to win this fight. I don't really see a path to victory for Max Griffin on the ground. Obviously, he's not really a submission guy, so that's Max Griffin. Again, let's now move to Carlos Condit. Oh my goodness, the natural-born killer is back, and I cannot be more excited. Hey, Condit's looked good his last couple of fights. Say what you want about that big losing streak. I mean, just think of the names he fought, though. Lawler, Maia, Magny, Oliveira, Chiesa. And I know Oliveira really isn't on the same level as a couple of those guys, but I mean, Carlos Condit's been fighting the best of the best for a while. So you're like, okay, you're going to dip out the top 15 for Condit for the first time in a very long time. You give him Court McGee. What does he do? He puts a beating on Court McGee in Fight Island on the home Aldana card. You got 327s across the board for the natural-born killer. Then you book him against Matt Brown, and Matt Brown all of a sudden is a monster again, knocking out Diego Lima. But Carlos Condit in that one, 327s across the board as well. Now, should have been 29-28, maybe, but we saw Carlos Condit that we have not seen in a while. We saw the wrestler Carlos Condit. We saw the guy who's going to take advantage of his opponent's weaknesses, and he's going to take him down, and he's going to ground him, and he's going to swarm him on the ground. He's going to drown him on the ground. That's what Carlos Condit did to Matt Brown. Matt Brown was not expecting Carlos Condit to come in there and take him down and out-wrestle him. Matt Brown was expecting a stand-up war with him and Condit, considering the wars Condit has been in the past. Carlos Condit, for the first time in a while, took advantage of his opponent's weaknesses, and that's what he did. He exploited it. That's what he did against Matt Brown. Now, I think we're going to see somewhat of a similar game plan in this one for Condit against Max Griffin, but I also do expect Carlos Condit to fight this fight a lot on the feet too. This is going to be a very just balanced fight for Carlos Condit. I think we're going to see a lot of striking out of him in this one, and we're going to see a lot of jiu-jitsu, and we're going to see a lot of wrestling out of him as well. And I know Carlos Condit's been submitted 6 times in the UFC in the past. I mean, he's got submitted by Maia, got submitted by Oliveira, got submitted by Chiesa. It seems like he's been submitted a lot more recently, but in a fight against Max Griffin, Carlos Condit's got the advantage on the ground. Don't forget, Condit's got 13 wins by submission, and now how many of those have come in the UFC? Absolutely 0, but still, Condit's ground game and his jiu-jitsu is severely underrated just considering the guys he's been submitted by are Damian Maia, Alex Cowboy of Oliveira, Chiesa, and he got beat on the ground by George St. Pierre. Right? So those are the guys that Carlos Condit's been fighting. He's always been fighting the best guys in the weight class. Max Griffin, no disrespect, seems again like a step down. Now, how does Max Griffin win this fight? He knocks out Carlos Condit in the first round, or he just lands a lot of big power shots against Condit and eventually wins the fight that way. But obviously, Carlos Condit knows this, and Condit is a smart fighter. He's gonna do what his opponent is not good at, and because Carlos Condit, again, he's a very good striker, but he can wrestle if he needs to. We saw that in the Matt Brown fight, and I think that's what we're gonna see Carlos Condit do in this one. I think he's gonna take down Max Griffin, and it might not be the most entertaining fight, because we could see a war between Carlos Condit and Max Griffin. Don't get me wrong, but if we're picking Carlos Condit to win this one, and I think the best path to victory for him is through the takedown, like we saw in the Matt Brown fight. Overwhelming Matt Brown on the ground was one of the best performances we have seen out of Carlos Condit since probably when I thought he beat Robbie Lawler. I'm gonna say that he beat Robbie Lawler. Go rewatch that fight, UFC 195. Tell me Carlos Condit did not beat Robbie Lawler in that one. He won that fight 3-2, and I am willing to debate anyone about that fight. And also don't forget when Carlos Condit was a couple punches away from beating the greatest of all time in Montreal with a head kick. I mean, go watch that. I think it was the third round. Yeah, third round between Condit and GSP. Oh my goodness, Condit catches him with a nice head kick. But that's why George St. Pierre is the greatest of all time. He got out of that situation. But go watch that Condit GSP fight too. Tremendous fight. But Carlos Condit, I think, is going to beat Max Griffin. If it's through the feet, I think Condit's going to be able to avoid the power shots that Max Griffin will throw. But I do like the ground game here of Carlos Condit, especially if his striking isn't going well, or if it is going well. I think Condit's going to be able to flip a switch here. I think he's going to be able to switch it up on Griffin, and that's why I'm going to go with the natural-born killer to pick up his third straight victory inside the octagon. I think he gets it done by unanimous decision, and hey, give him Robbie Lawler. Give me the rematch with Lawler and Condit. I think that fight will be absolutely crazy. If Lawler is looking for a retirement fight, Carlos Condit, if he wins his fight against Max Griffin, he's not stopping anytime soon. So I think Carlos Condit beats Max Griffin, and give me that rematch with Lawler. If Condit wins that one, hey, we're looking at top 10 opponents. On now to the main card, Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Chris Moutinho. All right, where do I even start with this one? I guess we'll start with Chris Moutinho. So he's coming out of CES. His last fight was a win over Andrew Salas. A couple months ago on CFFC. Sorry, he has fought on CES, but his last fight was in CFFC. He won by arm triangle choke in the third round. All right, Andrew Salas is a 6-5 fighter. He's 6-6 now. He was on a 2-fight losing streak going into the Moutinho fight. Okay, so what does Chris do before that? He picks up win over Ashik Ajiam on CES, fighter that was undefeated at the time. He KOs him in the second round. Okay, I mean, puts the first loss on the record for his opponent there. Good fight for Chris Moutinho. Before that, loses to Johnny Campbell. All right, gets KO'd in the second round that one. Campbell is 21-13. You might know him from fighting in Bellator most recently. He's a big underdog against Henry Colares. He won that one by rear naked choke in the second round. But it's not really the fight you're looking for out of Moutinho, considering he's going to fight Sugar Sean O'Malley next. Right, so he gets KO'd in the second round of that fight. Before that, he loses to Tony Gravely. Now we're back in 2019. We're back in January of 19, but still. Tony Gravely, a fighter that is I mean, don't get me wrong, he's good. He knocked out Anthony Burchak. He beat Geraldo de Freitas by split decision. That fight was not a split decision. He dominated. Oh, I wouldn't say dominated, but he obviously won that fight. But again, Gravely's a guy that you're thinking, if he's fighting Sean O'Malley, okay, Sean O'Malley's going to beat Tony Gravely. I don't like the matchmaking. Is it clear? I mean, Moutinho's a guy who's won two out of his last 4 fights at CES and CFFC, right? And yeah, he did lose to Tony Gravely. He's a UFC guy, but if you're booking him against Sugar Sean O'Malley, I wouldn't say he's one of the best strikers in the UFC, but just such a good striker in Sean O'Malley. Now, how does Chris Moutinho win this fight? He's got to land a bomb. I mean, his wrestling is okay. He's not going to be able to take down O'Malley, though. He's at a reach of disadvantage in this one as well, so I don't think... He's got to close the distance some way, and he's got to land a bomb against Sean O'Malley. Is it possible? Sure. And I guess the reach disadvantage is not that big, but still, he is at a reach disadvantage. He's just got to try to land one early. I don't see any other path to victory for Chris Moutinho on this one. Again, it's a guy who's lost 2 out of his last 4, and yes, he is on a 2-fight winning streak against a guy who's 3-1 and a guy who's 6-6. That's Chris Moutinho, again, coming out of CFFC. That last fight was just 2 months ago. It's disappointing, though. This fight is not Ricky Simone. It's not, Merab Divashvili. It's not Brian Kelleher, I would even take, too. kind of disappointing. And I know this was supposed to be Luis Smoka, and was I the most excited for Sean O'Malley and Luis Smoka? Probably not, but this one is just, it's a showcase fight for Sean O'Malley. That's all it is, right? So that's Chris Moutinho, again, coming in this fight with a record of 9-4 in his UFC debut on a main card against Sugar Sean O'Malley in a Conor McGregor fight card. I mean, yeah, that's Moutinho. Let's talk about the Sugar Show. So Sean O'Malley's winning this fight. He's going to win it probably in the first round by knockout. If it's not a first round knockout for Sean O'Malley, or if it's not a highlight reel knockout in this one for Sean O'Malley, this fight is an absolute disaster for the UFC. It is. This fight is set up for Sean O'Malley to pick up a win on a fight card that probably the most people, like, if you were not an MMA fan, you were watching this fight card, most likely, because you're watching a Conor McGregor fight card. It's full capacity crowd, Las Vegas. It's against Dustin Poirier, and if you're a casual fan, it's against a guy he just lost to, and some people are marketing this fight, and I think it's a fair assessment of this one. This is all or nothing for Conor McGregor right now in the UFC, basically for his entire fighting career. I mean, it's either Conor beats Dustin Poirier, or he's fighting Jake Paul next, right? So, okay, maybe, there's fights for Conor McGregor still in the UFC if he loses this fight, but we'll get to that fight in about, I don't know, 35 minutes. But Sean O'Malley has to win this fight in the first round, or win it by a highlight reel knockout, or, again, this is just a complete failure. This fight's set up for Sean O'Malley. Chris Moutinho is a okay striker. He's a decent wrestler. Sean O'Malley's gonna go in there, he's gonna finish him in the first round. The Sean O'Malley we saw in the Thomas Almeida fight looked really good. He looked very good in that one. The Marlon Vera fight for Sean O'Malley was not good. The Eddie Wireland fight, he looked pretty damn good in that one too. The Alberto Quinones fight looked good. Sokomuth fight, he broke his leg in that one, but he still won. And the Tyrion Ware fight, he looked okay as well. Sean O'Malley's gonna win this fight, and he's probably gonna brutally knock out Chris Moutinho in the first round. And if Chris Moutinho wins this fight, I don't know, man. I mean, this, like, legitimately, this will be the biggest upset since Matt Serra beat George St. Pierre. It's going to be on that level if Chris Moutinho wins this fight. Not because Sean O'Malley is the next coming of George St. Pierre and Chris Moutinho is the next coming of Matt Serra, but it's just that the way this fight is set up and the way people are looking at this fight, and hell, I'm looking at this fight too, like, Chris Moutinho should not stand a chance in there with Sean O'Malley. So, we'll see what happens. I'm going Sean O'Malley, though. First round knockout. I don't know what the prop is on less than 60 seconds. I don't think it's going to be that, but I mean, it's worth a shot because Sean O'Malley's like a minus 900 favorite at this point. Go with O'Malley in the first round. I think he gets the job done in this one. We'll see what happens. Now, this fight's not going the distance. I'll tell you that. This one's not going the distance because if Chris Moutinho wins this fight, it's going to be by a shock KO in the first round or second round or even the third round. Moutinho's not winning this fight if it's going to scorecards, so I mean, there's that prop. I'm sure it's not much better than O'Malley winning straight up, but whatever. Sean O'Malley wins this one, first round knockout. Now we have got two top 10 bantamweights, and I mean, I hate to say it, but a title shot might be on the line here. We'll talk about that after the winner of this fight, my prediction, obviously, but Yana Kunitskaya, Irene Aldana. We will start first here with the former title challenger in Yana Kunitskaya. So her last fight, good win over Ketlen Vieira. A lot of people thought that Vieira maybe won that fight. I thought Kunitskaya won that one pretty easily. I thought two rounds to one. I didn't really see that big of an issue. Yana Kunitskaya won that one for me. Before that, she beat Julia Stodyarenko. Stodyarenko, I mean, lost to Julia Avila in her last fight. Sure, Kunitskaya won by unanimous decision. All-around good win for Yana. Now, the Aspen Ladd fight was not good. I mean, she was losing that fight. Turns out to nothing. Aspen Ladd comes in there in the third round, just absolutely goes for it, and puts down Yana Kunitskaya 30 seconds into that third round in DC. Before that, for Kunitskaya, she beats Mary Renault. She's going to fight Miesha Tate next weekend. That's happening. And then before that, for Kunitskaya, beats Felina Landsberg. And then, of course, before that was her UFC debut against Chris Cyborg in a main event, UFC 222, over in Las Vegas, Nevada. Loses that one in the first round. She had her moments in that fight, kind of. I mean, she took Cyborg's back at one point in that fight. Other than that, she didn't really do anything. And Cyborg just, finished her. But what did you want out of Yana Kunitskaya in that one? That was the point of time where the UFC featherweight division was just, we're getting every Invicta bantamweight champion that we possibly can. Who wants to fight Cyborg? You're coming in there. But I mean, is it? I would say maybe the featherweight division was better off then, because what are we doing now with it? Is Norma Dumont getting a title shot next? I'm just saying, 145 is crazy right now. But Amanda's gonna fight Juliana Pena next in Houston in August. Yikes. But Kunitskaya, the Ketlen Vieira fight, impressive. She won that fight on the feet when she had to. Vieira did take her down a couple times, but there was nothing Ketlen Vieira did that was all that great on the ground. I mean, really, Vieira didn't do anything. That's why I thought Yana Kunitskaya won that one pretty well handedly. And the Julia Stodyarenko fight, she did what Stodyarenko wasn't good at, and she won the fight. That simple. So Yana Kunitskaya coming to this fight with a record of 14 wins and 5 losses. Yeah, good stand-up game. She can go to the ground if she has to. Now, Irina Aldana, we saw that in her last fight, didn't look great on the ground. We'll talk about that more in just a couple seconds here. But I think Yana Kunitskaya is going to go in there and she's going to try a takedown. Irina Aldana, that's not going to happen. This is going to be a striking fight, probably. So that's Kunitskaya. Let's talk about her opponent here in Irina Aldana. So Aldana just didn't look great in her last fight. It was her first headline spot against Holly Holm. She comes in there and she loses. Now, scorecards in that one, it wasn't even close. I had it, I think it was 50-45. I mean, yeah, it's 50-45 on all three, actually, except for one, 50-44 for Holly Holm. I had it 5-0, obviously, for Holm. Holm, incredible takedowns in that one. Showed that, hey, I'm still around. Worked body locks really, really well. Worked the clinch really well. It was a weird Holly Holm performance. Not the Holly Holm performance I was expecting, but just showed you how good Holly Holm really is, and just the step up in competition that Irina Aldana did face in that one, because she's taking on a former title holder in Holly Holm. I mean, before that, she beats Vanessa Mello, she beats Kelvin Vieira. Brutal knockout of Kelvin Vieira, by the way, though, UFC 245. And the Holly Holm fight, again, she lost that one on the ground pretty well handedly. Irina Aldana did lose to Raquel Pennington back in San Antonio in 2019. She loses that one by split decision. She comes in the UFC. She loses to Leslie Smith, actually, and then loses to Kaylin Kuchagan by split decision. Picks up a couple wins over the likes of Lucia Puzolova and Betch Kohea, and then, of course, the Pennington fight, Mello, Vieira, and then Holly Holm most recently. Irina Aldana and Yana Kunitskaya, this is going to be a stand-up fight. We're going to see who the better striker is. I don't see this one going to the mat. I don't think it is. If anyone's going to have the advantage on the ground, it's probably going to be Irina Aldana, but don't underestimate how good Yana Kunitskaya really is on the ground, too. Because Kunitskaya, again, I think one of the more underrated fighters at 135. And as for Irina Aldana, she's a good fighter as well, and she's got scary knockout power that not a lot of women do have in this weight class. You saw that in the Kelvin Vieira fight. Really shocking win for Irina Aldana. Looked very good in that one. Won a performance in the night bonus as well on that card. So this is actually one of the tougher fights to call, actually, on this entire card, really, because Aldana 12-6 so far, pro record 14-5 for Yana Kunitskaya. As for my official prediction, though, I'm going with Yana Kunitskaya. I think she's the better striker, and that's what it comes down to. It's who you think the better striker is. I'm going with Yana Kunitskaya. Now, the more interesting part, though, of this is, where do you go with the winner of this fight? Because if you look at the rankings for 135, all right, you got Amanda Nunes as the champion. Drainer Enemies 1, Holly Holm's 2, Aspen Ladd's 3, Irina Aldana's 4, Kunitskaya's 5, and the next title challenger is Juliana Pena at 6. Okay, so we know Pena and Nunes are fighting. Aspen Ladd's going to be fighting number 9 in Macy Chasson on the Dillashaw and Sandhagen card in a couple weeks. So that's a fight coming up. We know Mary Renault's 12, and no, I'm not talking about Mary Renault as the future title challenger, but she's fighting Miesha Tate, and if Miesha Tate beats Mary Renault, I think Miesha Tate's next for the championship, just because it's the biggest draw, and Miesha Tate's a big name, and will she beat Amanda Nunes? Probably not. If she fights Juliana Pena for the belt, maybe Miesha Tate does win the title, but that's a story for another day. I don't think Juliana Pena is beating Amanda Nunes, but we will talk about that fight when it happens in August. So, the titles, I don't think the winner of this fight is going to get a title shot. I said it earlier in this prediction. Maybe a title shot's on the line. I do not think so. So I think you book it here. You got 4 fighters. You got Drainer Enemy. You got Holly Holm. You got the winner of Aspen Ladd and Macy Chasson. You got the winner of Kunitskaya and the winner, Kunitskaya and Irina Aldana. So for this purpose of the video, I'm going to say Kunitskaya wins this fight. So Kunitskaya, I don't think she's going to fight Aspen Ladd. If Aspen Ladd beats Macy Chasson, she already lost Aspen Ladd. You don't make that fight. You make Yana Kunitskaya versus either Duranemy or Holm, and whoever doesn't get booked out of Holm and Duranemy, you have them fight the winner of Ladd and Chasson. Now, in a perfect world, just for booking purposes, I'm not saying that Macy Chasson's going to beat Aspen Ladd. Perfect world, Chasson versus Kunitskaya, Aldana versus Ladd, and then Holm Duranemy, and then you figure things out from there. But will that happen? I do not know. But still, it's a big fight coming up next for Yana Kunitskaya. Kunitskaya and Aldana are still 2 fights away from the belt. Again, the loss that Kunitskaya does hold to Ladd does hold her back some too, and along with Aldana's loss to Holm. So everyone in this division has to fight each other at some point. I mean, it's just Nunes' wife in another division. We'll see what happens with Pena and Nunes. Yeah, we'll see what happens in August, but a big fight is coming up for the winner of this fight. Just like hell, I said a couple weeks ago that the winner of Cyril Gane, Alexander Volkov, is going to get a big fight no matter what, and all of a sudden, Cyril Gane's fighting Derek Lewis for a world championship. So there's that. I don't think the winner of Kunitskaya and Aldana is going to be fighting for an interim championship at 135, but I've seen crazier things here with the sport of MMA. But again, final, I'm going with Yana Kunitskaya to win this one, and I think she gets it done by decision. It is now time for a fight that's happening in the heavyweight division. It's Greg Hardy, and it is Tai Tuivasa. Someone's getting knocked out. There's a reason this fight's this high up on the card. It's because you are going to get a knockout in the first round. I'm guaranteeing it right now. I don't think this is going to be a boring heavyweight 3-round fight. Someone is getting knocked out. Who will it be? We will find out. Greg Hardy, though. We're going to talk about him first. We can just talk about the entire career, really, of Greg Hardy. Comes in first fight, it's on the Contender Series. He beats Austin Lane by KO. Knocks him out in 57 seconds. Then fights again in the Contender Series, wins in 17 seconds. He goes outside the UFC. I think he got a developmental deal, if I'm not mistaken. Goes in, fights Extreme Fight Night. Picks up a win in 53 seconds in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So after that, they book him on the ESPN Plus card, Cejudo Dillashaw. He's doing all right, and then he just knees Alan Crowder when Alan Crowder's on the ground. He doesn't know the rules. He loses the fight. Sure, he gets booed out the building. After that, he gets a co-main event against Dmitry Smolkov. That guy was a UFC fighter, apparently. I mean, he wasn't great. Hardy KOs him in the first round. After that, he beats Juan Adams. Juan Adams has got a single leg. He just kind of sits there, just waits for Greg Hardy to keep punching him and punching him and punching him and punching him. And then the fight's called off. Adams like, oh, I was all right. No, he was just holding on to a single for dear life. Hey, Juan Adams won his last fight, though, in Fury FC in Houston in May, so good for him, I guess. First fight outside the UFC, it was a win for Juan Adams. After that, Hardy beats Ben Sisoli, but oh wait, he uses an inhaler in between rounds, and that fight gets overturned. And then after that, he just fights Alexander Volkov all of a sudden. Volkov's supposed to fight Junior Dos Santos. Dos Santos has to pull out, so they just book Greg Hardy and Volkov, and Hardy actually did all right in that one. If I'm being real, he fought a lot better than he should have in that one. He goes the distance with Volkov. Volkov wins the decision, but it was a really weird and good performance for Greg Hardy. So he goes in, he beats Yorgan de Castro by unanimous decision. That was the start of the downfall of Yorgan de Castro. And then he beats Maurice Green by TKO. So you're thinking, oh my goodness, Greg Hardy. Hey, all right, you look good against Volkov. He beats de Castro. He beats Maurice Green. He's fighting Marcin Tybura, and if he wins this fight, Greg Hardy's in the top 10 of the division. Doesn't happen for him. Marcin Tybura TKOs him in the second round. I have been on the Marcin Tybura hype train for a while now. Now, I did pick Ben Rothwell to beat him, but more recently, I have been on the Marcin Tybura hype train, picked him to beat Walt Harrison. Now, Marcin Tybura, somehow in this heavyweight division, is probably like 2 fights away from fighting for the belt. That's how weird 265 is right now. But that's just saying, Greg Hardy, he did not look great in that fight, because Marcin Tybura outstruck him in that one. He out-grappled him in that one. He outworked him in the clinch. It was a classic Marcin Tybura win. Really stopped the hype of Greg Hardy. Now, Greg Hardy's back in a fight here on a pay-per-view against another heavy hitter in Tai Tuivasa, who has main evented fight nights before in the past. So it's not like Hardy's completely fell off. And Greg Hardy will always have a role in the UFC just because of the amount of buzz he will bring in. Is it negative buzz? Is it positive buzz? It's usually more towards the negative side, but still, Greg Hardy can fight. He can. He's not one of these celebrity guys. I hate to say it, but he's not like a CM Punk coming in here. CM Punk tried, all right? There's that. But Greg Hardy is a real fighter who can contend with guys in the top 25 in heavyweight. He can. He can beat the lower. He can beat every lower level guy in the UFC. He can. Now, once he gets to the guys 20 through 15, of course, going up to the 10s and 5s, then Greg Hardy just seemed to start having some trouble. And Tai Tuivasa is a guy who is borderline top 20, I would say, right now in the UFC. And I know he did have his struggles, but more recently, Tai Tuivasa has looked very good in the promotion. So that's Greg Hardy, though, coming in this fight record, 7 wins and 3 losses. Obviously, I'm not even going to talk about these guys' ground game. It's not a thing. This is going to be just going to be a war on the feet. Someone's getting knocked out. Greg Hardy's got a lot of power, but so does Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa. And yeah, Tuivasa's looked very good in his last couple of fights. So, again, I guess we'll just talk about Tuivasa's entire UFC career. So he comes in, picks up one of Rashad Coulter, flying knees him over in Sydney, Australia. He's on the map, right? Then he beats Cyril Oscar by TKO. Cool. Beats Andrei Arlovski by decision, UFC 225. The hype is real for Tai Tuivasa. Junior Dos Santos, veteran gritty performance by Junior Dos Santos in that one. He gets rocked by Tai Tuivasa in that fight, but JDS came back. He beat Tai Tuivasa in Australia. So, Tuivasa comes back. He loses to Blagoy Ivanov. Okay. Lose to Sergey Spivak in Melbourne, Australia in a fight he did not look good in because Spivak controlled him on the ground, got him with an arm triangle choke, technical submission in that one, good win for Spivak. So Tuivasa comes back and gets one more shot in the UFC, and he knows most likely this is his last shot. He's got to win this fight. And they book him against Stefan Struve. And he KOs Stefan Struve in the first round with about a second left in the round. Oh my goodness. Okay, so he comes back and then he gets Henry Hunsucker. Hunsucker is a short notice replacement fight for Don'Tale Mayes, and now Tai Tuivasa was going to knock out Don'Tale Mayes, let's be real, but they booked him against Henry Hunsucker last second. That fight, everyone and their mother knew how that fight was going to end. It was going to be a Tai Tuivasa first round knockout. That's what he did. That fight only needed 50 seconds, and Tai Tuivasa knocked out Henry Hunsucker. So, what are we looking at now for Tai Tuivasa? He comes in, he wins 3 fights, he wins 4 fights, he loses 3 fights, now looking for his 3rd win on this new winning streak, or this really new run in the UFC for Tai Tuivasa. It has been a new Tai Tuivasa since the Stefan Struve fight. So, hey man, Tai Tuivasa, a lot of power. I mean, what else do you want me to say? He throws a lot of looping shots. He's gonna throw a looping cross. He's gonna throw a looping right hand. Same with Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy now he does throw some more straights than Tuivasa does. Tuivasa's gonna go again, a lot of looping strikes. Hardy's gonna try to. I mean, but Hardy throws a lot of haymakers too, though. I mean, I don't know. It's a heavyweight fight, man. I think if you're looking at the more technical fighter, technically I think it is Greg Hardy. But Tai Tuivasa is going to throw everything into his damn punches, and he's going to go for it in the first round. That's why this fight's going to be so entertaining. Now, Greg Hardy might back away in the first round because, again, Tuivasa does go for it in the first. So if you're thinking about this fight from the Greg Hardy side, you gotta think, okay, let Tuivasa try to wear himself out in the first round, kind of like he did in the Julio Dos Santos fight, and look to finish him in the second or in the third, kind of like he did tire out in the Blagoy Ivanov fight, and eventually Ivanov just won a decision in that one. And that is possible, yes, but I don't think Greg Hardy's going to play a technical fight in this one. I think Greg Hardy's going to wait for Tai Tuivasa. He's going to come out there, and he's probably going to swing with them. So, that being said, Tai Tuivasa is going to knock Greg Hardy out in the first round. And, like, I'm not a Greg Hardy hater. I actually kind of like Greg Hardy. I think the fighter Greg Hardy, somewhat entertaining. I think, hey, he's, come in, he's done pretty well for himself in the UFC. And this is going to be my 3rd time picking against Greg Hardy. I think I did pick him to beat Maurice Green, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm picking Tai Tuivasa to beat Greg Hardy. Maybe a levels fight. I just think Tuivasa is going to throw some bombs and Hardy's going to just walk right into one. So I'm going to go with Tai Tuivasa to knock out Greg Hardy in the first round. He's probably going to do a shoey after the fight too. That'll be cool. Give Tai Tuivasa the win. Oh my goodness, what a fight here in the co-main event at welterweight. Big title implications at 170 on the line here between Gilbert Durinho Burns and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Oh my goodness, I am so excited for this fight. We're going to start first here with Wonderboy Stephen Thompson. Thompson, man, hey, he might be, 38 years old, but he is still killing it. You saw in the Vicente Luque fight, that fight gets overlooked so much. Wonderboy just fought such a good fight against Luque in that one. He knocks him down multiple times in that 3rd round. He comes back in the first round too. It's looking like, okay, Luque is going to really get going in this one. He's putting the pressure on Wonderboy. 2nd round, Wonderboy settles in, puts a beating on Luque in the 3rd round. 10-8's the man. I mean, who is knocking down Vicente Luque? Almost no one. And Wonderboy did it twice in that round. So, and then he comes back and he beats Jeff Neal. I mean, that fight wasn't competitive. Jeff Neal, good fighter, but Stephen Wonderboy Thompson outclassed him. Just, yeah, pure outclass by Stephen Wonderboy Thompson right there. 25 minutes, pure domination by Wonderboy. Now, we can talk about the Anthony Pettis fight all you want, how he got caught off that, honestly, one of the most lucky punches in UFC history. I'll say it. I mean, what has Pettis done since? He's 0-2 in PFL. So, Wonderboy loses that one. He loses a Darren Till in a fight that he did win. He won that fight. He beats Masvidal. He probably won the 2nd Tyron Woodley fight. Go rewatch that fight. Now, it is boring, so don't watch that fight at night because you might fall asleep. But UFC 209, Wonderboy beats Tyron Woodley. The only reason why Tyron Woodley won that fight is because in the 5th round, he threw a lot of volume and he did knock down Wonderboy. But if you go back and watch that fight, Wonderboy already had 3 rounds won in that fight. Say it was boring, sure, but Wonderboy, it's the way Wonderboy will fight. If his opponent doesn't do anything, doesn't engage with him, Wonderboy's gonna stand on the outside. He's gonna fight a technical fight, and he's gonna outstrike his opponent. And that's what he did to Woodley in that fight. He won 3 rounds. He won 3 rounds easy in the first 4 in that one. Whatever. I thought he won that fight. He should have won the belt there. And the first Woodley fight, now, I thought that was actually a draw. I thought that first the Wonderboy Woodley fight, scored it at the time back in 2016, 2016, I scored a draw. I still scored a draw right now. It was a fun fight, a fight that gets overlooked, one of the better fights I have honestly ever seen live. That was such a damn good fight. I loved it. It's a fight that gets overlooked all the damn time, but Wonderboy recently has been so impressive against Luque and Neal. It's 2 younger guys that are supposed to beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Wonderboy was not supposed to win those 2 fights. Those are fights that you're trying to, Wonderboy said himself, the UFC wants to make me a gatekeeper. He's shown those 2 fights. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is not a gatekeeper. And those are two fights. Those are supposed to be stepping stone fights for Vicente Luque. If Vicente Luque wins that one, he enters the top 5. He's looking at bigger and better opponents. Same with Jeff Neal. Wonderboy put an end to those two hype trains. And I know Luque's coming back and he's still looking better than ever. He beat Tyron Woodley most recently. He's going to fight Michael Chiesa next. But Jeff Neal, that stopped that hype train. It did. Jeff Neal comes back. He fights Neil Magny and he loses as well. Right? Wonderboy, the pressure he puts on you, and the unorthodox strikes, and the kicks, the karate, and the takedown defense is huge as well. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, one of the more underrated defensive wrestlers. And you look at Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he's the kickboxer, he's the karate guy. I mean, he does a kids camp with karate. He drives around a bus where he picks up kids at school. I didn't know that was actually a thing. I thought Colby Covington was just mocking him. But apparently, yeah, Wonderboy does pick up kids in his karate bus after school to take them to karate class. But Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, just put the karate and the kickboxing aside, Wonderboy is one of the best defensive wrestlers you will see at 170. Besides Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman, it is a shame Wonderboy is in this weight class with Usman and Covington, who might be maybe the 2 best welterweights of all time, not named George St. Pierre. It is just tough the way Wonderboy has been slotted in this weight class. Now, he does pose, and I'll get to this later, but Wonderboy definitely, and I mean definitely, poses a very interesting challenge to whoever comes out that title shot that title fight between Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman. Either Colby or Kamaru is going to have trouble with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson if they ever fight. I'm just saying. And we have seen Gilbert Durinho Burns fight Kamaru Usman, and we saw that fight ended. Now, one thing I want to mention real quick too, Gilbert Burns' chin is not the best. It is not. You saw him. He got sat down with a jab by Kamaru Usman. If you think Kamaru Usman hits hard, just wait until Stephen Wonderboy Thompson spinning wheel kicks you. Right? Burns has been knocked out twice in the UFC. He got knocked out by a lightweight in Dan Hooker, and he got knocked out by Kamaru Usman as well, where Usman again stuck the jab out there and he knocked him out. Knocked him down a couple times as well. Wonderboy throws a stiff jab as well. A stiff cross too. Wonderboy's good, man. He is good. He's 16-4-1. The losses again are Woodley. Thought he won that one. Darren Till won that fight. Anthony Pettis, he just got caught. Happens. And then the Matt Brown fight back at UFC 145 too, where Matt Brown out-wrestled Stephen Wonderboy Thompson back in 2012. But there's that. So that's Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Let's talk about his opponent here in the former title challenger, Gilbert Durinho Burns. And don't forget, Gilbert Burns knocked down Kamaru Usman in the first round of their fight. I was like, holy crap, Burns is going to do it. No, he didn't. But still, Burns looked good in that fight up until it didn't look good for him. I mean, Burns' run at welterweight's been pretty damn solid. He comes in, he beats he beats Alexei Kushenko in his first fight at welterweight. The Mike Davis fight was, of course, at 155, but he submitted Mike Davis, by the way, in that fight. But he beats Kushenko by unanimous decision. Then he beats Gunnar Nelson. Then he beats Damian Maia. Then he beats Woodley. Then he fights Usman for the belt and he loses. Now, he beat a Tyron Woodley, who was he still in his prime? Maybe not. He beats a Damian Maia, who was he in his prime? Maybe not, but he looks so damn good in those fights. My problem with Gilbert Burns in this one is he just got knocked out by Kamaru Usman in February. You are taking on the best striker, not just at 170, but maybe the best striker in the UFC right now. In Wonderboy. I don't care, Wonderboy's 38 years old. Wonderboy will still always be an elite striker. I just worry, and considering Gilbert Burns has been out saying, yeah, I'm going to strike with Wonderboy here, I'm going to knock him out. But you don't want to hear that. Because, again, this is a guy who just got knocked out by Usman, who is a wrestler, and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's the best striker we have ever seen at 170. Yeah, it is concerning. Considering, Burns does not have the best chin as well. It is tough picking Gilbert Burns in this fight. Now, how do you pick Gilbert Burns to win this one? And where is his best chance to win this one? If he takes down Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and he tries to submit him. We saw Tyron Woodley go in there. He had a guillotine in on Wonderboy, and he almost finished him too. But it is tough to take down Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I'm telling you, one of the best defensive wrestlers I have ever seen at 170. Other than maybe Colby and Kamaru, but maybe even a better defensive wrestler than Colby Covington. And I'm not saying that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is a better wrestler than Colby Covington. Sometimes Colby Covington will let his opponents take him down because he wants to be on the ground. But i.e. Dos Anjos fight and Tyron Woodley fight. But Wonderboy is so good at stuffing takedowns, man. And I just don't think Gilbert Burns is going to be able to take him down. I don't think he's going to be able to pull guard him. I don't think he's going to pull guard him. And that's all being said, if we think Gilbert Burns is going to go in there and try to take down Wonderboy and try to grapple with Wonderboy, Burns is probably going to strike with them. And I hate that out of Gilbert Burns. I don't think I think this fight is a mismatch on the feet. I'll say it. I think it's a mismatch on the feet. How does Gilbert Burns knock out Wonderboy? All right, if there's a big power, if there's a big overhand right, he preys on that one big shot. How does Wonderboy win this fight? He stays on the outside. this is how it happens. Wonderboy's going to throw 5 strikes. He's going to really damage Gilbert Burns. And then in exchange, Burns is going to throw that big overhand. He's going to try to put him away. Wonderboy knows what's going to happen, right? Wonderboy's so good getting in and out. He's going to throw side kicks to avoid distance in this one. But the Steven Wonderboy code is so hard to crack. And I think Wonderboy is going to beat Gilbert Burns. Do I think he finishes them? I think he does. Wonderboy's going to finish Gilbert Burns in the 3rd round of this fight. I think Wonderboy's going to just put it on him for the first round, and in the 3rd round, he's just going to... I think we're going to see knockdowns in the 2nd round. I think we're going to see multiple knockdowns in the 2nd round for Wonderboy. In the 3rd round, he eventually puts him away. I mean, this is a guy in Wonderboy who broke his hands putting down Vicente Luque. And Vicente Luque's got maybe the hardest chin and got the best chin in the weight class right now. Maybe other than Usman, honestly. So... I think Wonderboy gets the job done in this one. I think he does. I don't like the game plan here out of Burns. If the game plan is, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to strike with the best striker in the weight class, right? And even if he tries to take him down, it is a struggle to take down Wonderboy because that's how good of a defensive wrestler he is. That's all Wonderboy trains. He doesn't train, yeah, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to shoot a double, and I'm going to take you down, I'm going to ground and pound you. No. All Wonderboy trains is defensive wrestling. And he's training out with Chris Weidman, and I know Weidman's not going to be training with him in this camp, but that's what Wonderboy has been doing for the last, 10 years? I mean... I'm going to see Wonderboy Thompson to win this fight. I think he gets it done in the 3rd round. He wins this one by TKO. Now, the problem is, where do you go with Wonderboy here? Is Colby Covington fighting Kamaru Usman for the championship or not? Is that not happening? It better not be Nate Diaz. I mean, I don't know who is fighting Usman next. It should be Colby Covington. Every single sign, everything points to a Covington-Usman rematch. And that's likely where they go with that. Now, where does Leon Edwards go? I tell you where Leon Edwards goes. That's the Jorge Masvidal fight. I've been calling for that fight for the longest damn time. Give me Edwards Masvidal. Wonderboy can wait for the winner of Usman and Colby. There. Yeah, I just booked the entire division for you. I think that's how it works. I really think I do. I think the winner of this fight, I think if Wonderboy wins, he gets a title shot. If Burns wins, he's got to win another one. I don't think Burns gets a title shot after only winning one fight. Burns probably takes on Edwards, or he takes on maybe the winner of Luque and Chiesa, maybe even a Neil Magny, maybe even a Bilal Muhammad. Probably not Bilal Muhammad, but still, probably not even Magny as well. But I don't think Burns gets a title shot for win. Wonderboy definitely does. And I think, again, you're going to have to wait, though. You're going to have to wait for the winner of Colby and Usman. When that fight has happened, I do not know. I'm thinking about November for the Colby-Usman rematch. Maybe even December. We will wait and see, though. But I think Wonderboy gets the job done in the 3rd round. TKOs, Gilbert Torino Burns, and get that man a title shot, 38 years of age. We will see if Wonderboy can finally do it. But yeah, it should be a fun fight between Burns and Wonderboy. We will see what happens on Saturday night. Let's now get into the main event. It's the trilogy. It is the trilogy. Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor. Okay. I mean, normally I break down fights between these guys. I'll talk about, okay, well, Conor fought Diaz twice. He fought Habib. He beat Cowboy. Poirier beat Gagey. He beat Max Holloway for the interim championship. He lost to Habib. He beat Dan Hooker. There's no need to do that for this fight. I mean, there really isn't. This fight, it's based on the second fight. Because that fight in January, I did not think Dustin Poirier was going to win that fight. I'll say it right now. I didn't think he was going to win that one. I thought Conor was going to get the job done. I thought that was going to be the start of the new Conor run. And if Conor wins, maybe he fights Habib again. Or hell, give me Gagey and Conor. That's a fun fight. Or give me Conor versus whoever's going to fight for the championship. At the time, I was thinking it was probably going to be Charles Oliveira. But nothing less. Conor McGregor needs to win this fight. It is not a... Okay, Conor McGregor can lose twice to Dustin Poirier, then he can pick up a couple wins and he can get a title shot again. Conor McGregor is not sticking around. I do not think if he loses to Dustin Poirier for the second time, this fight is absolutely huge for Conor. It is. I mean, this is the biggest Conor McGregor fight for me, for maybe ever, because yes, the Habib fight was huge. That was for the championship. And I mean, the second Diaz fight was huge, but that wasn't really for a title as well. And if Conor lost that fight, he can still go down to featherweight again. And there's still fights for him down there. A Frankie Edgar fight, a Jose Aldo rematch. If you lost to Cowboy, yeah, maybe that was going to be it too. But okay, no one thought actually, some people thought Conor was going to lose to Cowboy. But if you watched MMA, you most likely knew Conor was going to beat Donald Cowboy Cerrone. So, and if you watched the Ferguson fight and the Gagey fight with Cowboy, you knew Conor was probably going to beat Cowboy. So, this fight is it's so huge for the Conor McGregor career. And I'll quote this is what the Fight Night Picks guys said. A normal fighter can lose twice to Dustin Poirier. They can. But can Conor McGregor lose twice to Dustin Poirier? I don't think he can. Because, again, it's the era of Conor McGregor. And just the way Conor fights and the way he sells his fights, you can't go into another run at lightweight after losing twice to Dustin Poirier. And yes, is Poirier the uncrowned champion right now? Probably. Yeah, I mean, okay, I know Charles Oliveira is the champion, and no one really talks about Charles Oliveira as being the champion, considering there's a title fight, or not title fight, there's a main event fight going on at 155 pounds in the T-Mobile Arena this Saturday, and it does not involve the world champion. It involves Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier, and a fight where the winner most likely fights for the title, and I'll get to all those scenarios after I'm done making my prediction, but that's just how big this fight is for Conor McGregor. Now, how does Conor win this fight? Okay, you gotta check a leg kick, right? But again, Conor did not lose that fight to Dustin Poirier just because he didn't check a leg kick. Dustin Poirier outstruck Conor McGregor in that second round, but I wanted something huge in the first round. There's a point in that first round where Conor McGregor does land a very nice shot right up the middle on Dustin Poirier. It stuns Poirier for just a little bit, and you can see it in Poirier's face. He is wobbled. Conor does not go after him there. We are playing patient Conor. Conor is waiting back. He's waiting for his spot, and he's going to pick his moments. Dustin Poirier in the post-fight interview said, yeah, I was hurt right there. And if Conor came at me, I would have been in some trouble in that moment. Conor did not. He ended up losing the fight. I am very surprised Dustin Poirier said that, and it's the same effect when Daniel Cormier beat Stipe Miocic in the first fight. Stipe let his hands drop when he's coming out the clinch. Cormier said that as soon as he won the fight. Why would you ever say that? Same thing happened in the Dustin Poirier post-fight interview with Conor McGregor. Now, do I think this is going to be a huge factor of, oh, Conor knew he had him stunned? Well, if Conor rewatched this fight, he would know that, yeah, he had Dustin stunned, and I don't think there was any question of that, and we don't need any confirmation from Dustin Diamond Poirier that he was hurt in that millisecond in that fight. So I don't think that is the biggest factor going into this one, but that is somewhat of a factor. Yes, Conor was able to stun Dustin in their first fight. The first round, close round. It could have definitely gone either way. Poirier goes in for a takedown in the first round against Conor. He gets it right away. Now, Conor most recently put out a tweet, first one to shoot's a dusty bitch. Okay. I mean, really? Okay. Poirier most likely will try to shoot for a takedown in this fight because, okay, stand-up fight with Conor and Dustin. Who's the better striker right now? Okay, probably Dustin Poirier, but on the ground, obviously, that's where Poirier's got a big advantage. And again, I said this in the first Conor and Poirier fight. I don't like this perception that Conor McGregor is a horrible jiu-jitsu fighter and that he's a horrible wrestler. He is not. But Dustin Poirier is a better wrestler and a better jiu-jitsu player than Conor McGregor. It's that simple. So Poirier's got the clear advantage down there. Will he use that? I think he will. We will definitely see Dustin Poirier probably shoot a takedown in the first round. And again, the whole tweet, Conor, first one to shoot's a bitch. It's probably going to happen, though. Poirier is going to try to take down Conor, and he will probably be successful. It is how Conor McGregor, though, responds to that first takedown. People forget how good Dustin Poirier is on the ground. Black belt in jiu-jitsu, right? So can Poirier submit Conor in that first round? Maybe he can, but it all depends on how Conor does get up. Because you saw in the first fight, again, he gets up about 40 seconds after the takedown. Gets him back to the fence. They exchange shoulder strikes for a couple minutes. And then, of course, we break, and then we go back to a stand-up fight. So it just depends. Will Poirier shoot for a takedown? I think he will. Now, Poirier's saying, I'm not going to kick leg kicks in the second fight. He said this or the third fight. He said this in interviews leading up to this fight. I'm not going to go any calf kicks because, hey, it's obvious. Conor knows I'm just going to check him. And, I mean, that was the big storyline of the second fight. I disregard the first fight, really, because, I mean, that fight was at 145. It was 7 years ago. No one really gives a damn about that fight. So if I accidentally referred to the second fight as the first fight, excuse me, because it was the first fight at 155. So Poirier's saying that he's gonna go for some calf kicks. It's gonna be, I mean, come on, right? If Dustin Poirier doesn't attempt a single leg kick, he probably loses the fight. So I think that's just gamesmanship by Dustin Poirier. He's gonna kick him in the leg. So it will be how Conor does respond to that first leg kick, and it's how Conor responds to that first takedown. Because Conor McGregor, again, he did get outstruck by Dustin Poirier in that fight, but Conor had his moments, right? Conor did have his moments. So how does Conor win this fight? First round. That's Conor McGregor's best shot at winning this fight. It's always Conor McGregor's best shot at winning a fight. First and second rounds. You saw it when he knocked out Jose Aldo in, 13 seconds? Won that one in the first round. He knocked out Eddie Alvarez in the second round, MSG, UFC 205. Conor McGregor is best early into fights. And Conor, it was a thing earlier on in his career. He just faded when the fight does go on to the later rounds. You saw that in the Floyd Mayweather fight against a boxing fight, but it did happen in the Floyd fight. It happened in the first Nate Diaz fight. Sort of happened in the second Nate Diaz fight, even though he did end up winning that fight by majority decision. And you saw in the Cowboy fight, good in the first round, 40 seconds, he wins the fight. So Conor's best chance to win this fight is going to be in the first round. And I think you might see, I wouldn't say a desperate Conor McGregor in the first round, but a very aggressive Conor McGregor for the first minute or so in that fight. I think Conor's going to try to get Poirier out of there early. I think he's going to be. He's going to try to do so. Will it happen? I don't know, because how durable Dustin Poirier is. Dustin Poirier is a tough fighter, and he is such a good fighter as well. Last time Dustin Poirier was finished on the feet, the last time he was TKO'd was the first Conor fight, UFC 178. He got submitted by Dustin Poirier, or not Dustin Poirier, got submitted by Khabib Nurmagomedov, UFC 242. Don't forget, Dustin Poirier kind of had him in a guillotine. I mean, hey, when I was watching that fight live, I thought Dustin Poirier was going to submit Khabib Nurmagomedov with that guillotine choke. Did he get it? No, but he got very damn close. So don't underestimate the ground game of Dustin Poirier. If he goes in for a takedown, there's a very good chance, and there's a high chance, that Dustin Poirier is going to at least attempt a submission, and there's a chance Dustin Poirier submits Conor McGregor. I think that might be the game plan of Poirier in this one. Or Poirier could just go in there and do what he did to him in the second fight, right? Poirier's got more ways to win this fight than Conor McGregor does. Conor McGregor, how does he win this fight? He wins in the first or second round. He knocks out Dustin Poirier. How does Poirier win this fight? He wins this fight late into the fight. He wins by decision. He takes him down. He outstrikes him for 5 rounds. There are so many different ways Poirier wins this one. And the way Conor wins this fight is very, I mean, it's just dead on. First or second round knockout. That's how Conor beats him. So it is tough picking Conor, man. It's tough picking Conor in this one. And it leans all towards Dustin Poirier. So do I think Dustin Poirier should win this fight? Yes. But there is a part of me that is saying that Conor McGregor is going to get the job done. Why? Conor McGregor's career is on the line in this fight. It is. Again, I've said it earlier. If Conor does not win this fight, yes, there are fights for him in the UFC. There's an Nate Diaz trilogy fight. There's a Jorge Masvidal fight waiting for him, but is that fight all that big now? Not really. There's a Justin Gaethje fight, which would we really want to see that if Conor gets knocked out by Dustin Poirier for a second time? Maybe not. I mean, again, there's fights. There's a Cowboy rematch. I don't know. There's a Nick Diaz fight, maybe. But there's Jake Paul too. But he's got to win this one. He has got to win this one. Because if Conor wins, okay, you go in, you fight Charles Oliveira, and then you maybe fight for the belt, or maybe not. You fight Diaz again no matter what. Or, I don't know, you just sit and wait. You see if Gaethje can beat Charles Oliveira if that fight is happening. You see maybe Chandler Gaethje, the winner of that fight, fights Oliveira. Who knows? But Poirier, if he wins this fight, it's the title no matter what. That's automatic. Or maybe Poirier's going to make bank off this fight. Maybe Poirier doesn't even want to fight anymore. Because there's what Poirier said after the second Conor fight. Post-fight interview was very strange. It was very interesting watching that. Go rewatch this one. Poirier says after, I forget what reporter asks him, but I believe it's something along the lines of, "Are you happy that you won this fight?" Poirier says, "I'm more relieved." Something along the lines of this. Stay with me here. "I'm more relieved." And it's like CTE Island out here. They call it Fight Island. It's more like CTE Island. That's not the words of a guy who's looking to become the champion, that's, striving every day to be a champion. Now, I'm not questioning the will of Dustin Poirier, but I'm just questioning how much, if Poirier, okay, I'm not questioning if Poirier is like training hard to win this fight. I think he is. I think Dustin Poirier, I think he's one of the best guys in the world, obviously. But if Dustin Poirier beats Conor McGregor for a second time, I don't think there is the urge in Dustin Poirier to be like, all right, I'm going to fight Charles Oliveira. I'm going to fight a different fighter now. I'm going to fight a fighter who is going to try to take me down, is going to try to submit me. I don't know if there's that sense of, I gotta go fight for the belt next, because in Poirier's eyes, he's already won the championship. He's already beat Max Holloway for the interim championship. He beat a champion to win the interim championship. Interim championships are a big damn deal, and if you beat Conor McGregor twice, you cash out, you make all this damn money that Poirier is gonna make no matter what, win or lose. Dustin Poirier is gonna make a crap ton of money in this fight. Is there a need to fight Charles Oliveira again, or for the first time for the title? Maybe there is. And is there a need to fight Gaethje again if that fight's next, or Michael Chandler, or all these good fighters coming up at 155? Islam Makhachev maybe down the road, or Thiago Moises if he beats Makhachev? I doubt it, but still, is there the urge for that for Poirier? I don't know. Because again, he's gonna make so much money off this fight. All right, but it is time for the official prediction. I am gonna go with Conor McGregor. And I know I said earlier that yes, Dustin Poirier has a lot of more different ways to win this fight than Conor McGregor does. He does. And I'll be the first to say, I think Conor McGregor catches him in the first round. That's my only hope in this one for Conor. First or second rounds, he catches Poirier across the chin and he puts him down. That is my only hope for Conor in this one, and that's why I'm taking Conor McGregor. I'm taking the underdog in Conor McGregor. It's the first time McGregor's been an underdog in a while. I know he's an underdog for the Khabib fight, but is oddsing McGregor in this spot. Back against the wall, you gotta win a fight if you're Conor. He's gotta pull through. And if he doesn't, again, Conor McGregor, the era of Conor McGregor is over. So I think Conor, again, with his back against the wall, bottom of the 9th inning, he gets the job done. I think Conor McGregor knocks out Dustin Poirier in the first round. That's what I'm going with. I think so. Now, if Poirier takes it down the first round, holds him there, and he does the same in the second, the third, and the fourth, so be it. But I'm going to take the chance on Conor McGregor. I'm going to take that slight chance. Because, again, if I have to, like, say, like, percentage-wise who I think I'm going to win this, who's going to win this fight, I got Poirier 65-35. I'll be honest with you. But off that pure hope that Conor McGregor knocks him out in the first round, that's what I'm going to go with. Who do I think is more likely to win the fight? Probably Dustin Poirier. But I'm just going to bank on that Conor McGregor straight cross in that first round, and I think he puts down Poirier. And I think Conor McGregor wins, and all the hype's back. And now what do you do from here? I mean, I don't do the fourth fight. No matter what, please don't do the fourth fight. If Conor wins, I don't want to see that fight again. I think there's fights for both these guys, no matter what, win or lose. If Poirier wins, it's probably Oliveira. If Conor wins, who knows? It's maybe Oliveira. It's maybe Nate Diaz. Other than that, maybe Justin Gaethje, but I don't really see that. So, it's interesting, man. I mean, this division is very interesting still. But again, I'm going to go with Conor McGregor to win this one by knockout in the first round. I'm picking him again. We will see if Conor McGregor can turn back the clock. And we'll see if Conor can try to become that UFC champion and win his second fight. Yes, his second fight at 155. His last one again, UFC 205 against Eddie Alvarez. We will see if he puts an end to the Dustin the Diamond Poirier. I mean, I wouldn't say really an end to a Poirier era, but still an end temporarily to the Poirier title run at 155. So again, Conor McGregor, first round knockout. Let's see, man. I'm so excited for this fight card, though. UFC back in Las Vegas, Nevada. Full crowd. I am so excited. And yeah, I mean, hey, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, it does not get any better than this. So folks, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more UFC here on the channel. We do one of these weekly. Hey, next week we will have the full fight card predictions with Thiago Moises and Islam Makhachev back in the Apex. So there is that. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like on this one. Also, make sure to leave a comment if you do disagree with any of my predictions. Took some controversial picks in this one, especially here in the main event and even in the co-main event as well. Some very controversial picks. So I'm excited to see what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. If you have any comments, again, folks, thank you for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for more. And Mamba forever.